All right, so if you're thinking about taking the TOEFL anytime after January 2026, you're gonna wanna listen up. The test is getting a massive overhaul. In this explainer, we are going to build your personal battle plan to absolutely crush the new reading section. We're turning what seems like a huge challenge into your biggest advantage.
The TOEFL is getting its biggest update in years, no doubt about it. But you know what? Change is opportunity. With the right strategy, you won't just be ready, you'll actually be ahead of the game. So let's get you prepared to walk into that test feeling totally confident.
So just how different is it? Well, take a look. The old long-haul test, gone. The new TOEFL is multi-stage adaptive, and don't worry, we'll get into exactly what that means in a sec. It's also shorter, the scoring is this new band system, and the content itself is shifting to be way more modern and, real world. This isn't just a little tweak, it's a whole new test.
So let's talk about this new battlefield. It really all boils down to one word: adaptive. This is, without a doubt, the single biggest change to the test, and getting how it works is your first, most important step to mastering it. So how does this adaptive system actually work? You know what? Think about like a video game. Everyone starts on the same first level. That's the routing module. The test then watches how you do. If you're hitting about 60% of the questions right, the game decides, okay, you're ready for the hard path. But if you struggle, it sends you down the easier route. The test is literally adjusting to your skill level as you go.
And this is the part you really need to hear. Your performance in that very first module has a massive impact. Getting sent to the easy module actually puts a ceiling on your potential score. It caps how high you can possibly get. So you have to change your whole mindset. It's not a marathon anymore. It's a sprint right at the beginning, where every single point counts.
Okay, now that we understand the battlefield, it's time to forge your weapons. Let's get into the core reading techniques that you absolutely need to handle whatever passage the TOEFL decides to throw at you. Your two most important tools are going to be skimming and scanning. Skimming is your first pass. You're just trying to get the main idea, the gist, by reading the title and the first sentence of each paragraph. Then, once you read a question, you switch gears to scanning. Now, you're not reading anymore, you're hunting. You're looking for one specific word or a name or a date from the question. Getting good at switching between these two will save you so much time.
But speed isn't everything, right? You also need to actually understand what you're reading. And that's where this amazing technique called the teacher method comes in. The TOEFL doesn't really care what you can memorize. It cares what you can comprehend. This method is your secret weapon for making sure you're actually processing the information.
And the method itself? It's brilliantly simple. After you read a paragraph, just stop and ask yourself, okay, could I explain this to a little kid? If you can say, well, this part is basically about how bees help plants grow, then boom, you've got it. If you can't simplify it, you probably haven't quite grasped the core idea just yet. All right, we've got our tools. Now let's talk about putting them to work on the actual challenges you're going to face. The new question types in the 2026 reading section. You're going to see three main tasks. Complete the words, which is a vocabulary test. Read in daily life, which uses things like emails or social media posts. And yep, read an academic passage is still around. But the good news is the passages are much shorter now, around 200 words instead of the old 700.
So let's zoom in on those read-in daily life questions. You'll mostly see these three flavors: gist purpose, just asking for the main idea; factual information, asking for a specific detail; and inference, which asks you to kind of read between the lines. Knowing what kind of question is being asked helps you know exactly what to look for. And what about those academic passages? This is your magic number. You have about 4 to 5 minutes total. That's for reading the passage and answering all 5 of its questions. It's not a lot of time, which is exactly why having a fast, confident strategy is an absolute must. And here's a little pro tip for you, a way to spot trap answers. Pay super close attention to extreme words. An answer might look pretty good, but if it has a word like always, or never, or only, it becomes an absolute statement. And absolute statements are usually really easy to prove wrong. These are classic TOEFL traps.
Look, having all the best strategies is awesome, but battles are won in training. Consistent, smart practice is what's going to make all of these techniques feel like second nature when you sit down for the real test.
You absolutely cannot ignore vocabulary. It is the foundation for everything else. Seriously, use free flashcard apps on your phone and just learn a few new academic words every single day. A little bit of effort here pays off big time. Now, here is a golden nugget of information. Did you know this? The vast majority of official TOEFL reading passages are about science. This is huge. It tells you exactly what kind of stuff you should be practicing with. Don't waste your time reading random articles. Focus your training where it's going to count the most.
So, where can you find good practice material? Start right here. Websites like National Geographic, the science section of Smithsonian Magazine. These places have articles that are written in a very similar style to what you're going to find on the Toefl.
And here's my last piece of advice for practice. Don't just check if you are right or wrong. You have to be a detective. Every time you make a mistake, figure out why. Did you misunderstand the passage? Did you misread the question? Or was it a vocabulary word you didn't know? Once you know the why, you can make a plan to fix it. That's how you actually get better.
We have covered so much ground. We've talked about the battlefield, the tools, the challenges, the training. Now, let's tie it all together into one simple, clear plan for your success.
So here it is, your cheat sheet to victory. Number 1, nail that first module, because the test adapts to you. Number 2, use your toolkit, skim, scan, and use that teacher method. 3, know the question types so there are no surprises. 4, practice smart with science articles and analyze your mistakes. And 5, be a master of the clock.
The plan is right there in front of you. The tools are in your hands. This new Toefl isn't something you need to be afraid of. It's a test you now know how to prepare for, how to understand, and how to beat. So the only question left is, what are you going to do with it?